The moment you open LibreOffice after the release of version 26.2, you immediately feel that this isn't just another routine update. It's one of those milestone releases that quietly reshapes how the entire suite feels, performs, and integrates into modern workflows. And today we're diving deep into exactly why this release matters, what has changed under the hood, and whether this could be the update that finally pushes even more people away from proprietary Office suites and into the open source world. Because if you've been following the evolution of LibreOffice over the years, you'll know that progress often comes in steady, incremental steps, but every now and then a version lands that tightens everything up at once. And 26.2 absolutely fits that description, bringing a combination of performance gains, interface polish, compatibility, improvements, and workflow enhancements that together make the suite feel more cohesive than ever before. Right from launch, one of the first things users notice is responsiveness, because the development team focused heavily on reducing interface latency, especially in large documents, and if you routinely work with long reports, complex spreadsheets, or presentation decks packed with media. The difference becomes obvious within minutes. Scrolling feels smoother, object selection is more immediate, and opening heavy files takes less time. Not because of a single flashy feature, but due to dozens of optimizations across rendering, caching, and memory handling. And this focus on real-world performance reflects the broader direction set by the Document Foundation, which has been prioritizing stability and efficiency to ensure LibreOffice scales from low-power laptops to professional workstations without friction. As you move deeper into the interface, you start to notice subtle but meaningful visual refinements. Because while LibreOffice has never aimed to mimic any single proprietary design language, version 26.2 continues the slow modernization of icons, spacing, and typography, making the UI feel cleaner without losing familiarity. And this balance is crucial since one of the suite's biggest strengths is that longtime users can jump into a new version and remain productive instantly. Yet newcomers coming from Microsoft Office environments won't feel like they've stepped into something dated. And that sense of visual cohesion extends across Writer, Calc, Impress, and Draw, giving the entire ecosystem a more unified personality. In Writer, which remains the backbone of the suite for most users, the improvements in version 26.2 revolve around both usability and document fidelity. And one of the standout areas is style management, where enhancements to preview behavior and quicker access to formatting controls make it easier to maintain consistent document structure, especially in long manuscripts or technical documentation, and the layout engine has also received refinements that improve how complex elements like tables, images, and footnotes interact, reducing the chances of unexpected shifts when editing, which is a subtle change but one that saves countless micro-frustrations over time. Another area where Writer benefits is collaboration readiness. Not necessarily through real-time cloud editing like some proprietary platforms, but through improved change tracking reliability, better comment rendering, and more predictable document exports, meaning teams that exchange files frequently will notice fewer formatting surprises. And this directly feeds into one of the most important ongoing goals for LibreOffice, which is closing the compatibility gap so users can move between ecosystems without constantly double-checking layouts. Calc, on the other hand, might be where power users feel the biggest leap, because version 26.2 introduces performance optimizations specifically targeted at large datasets and complex formulas. And if you work with spreadsheets that previously felt sluggish when recalculating, you'll likely see noticeable gains, particularly when using multi-threaded operations that better leverage modern CPUs. And alongside raw speed improvements, there's also refinement to function handling and formula suggestions, making the experience more approachable for intermediate users while still satisfying advanced workflows. Charting within Calc has also seen quiet improvements, with better rendering clarity and more predictable scaling behavior, which might not sound dramatic on paper but translates into charts that require less manual tweaking before being presentation ready. And when you combine this with smoother scrolling and faster filtering operations, the overall impression is that Calc is becoming increasingly comfortable for heavier analytical tasks, not just basic spreadsheets. Impress, the presentation component, receives attention in areas that directly affect day-to-day usability, such as improved slide navigation fluidity and more consistent media playback handling, which is particularly important for users who embed video or complex animations. And export reliability has also been strengthened so that presentations behave more consistently when shared or opened on different systems, reinforcing the idea that LibreOffice is steadily tightening its real-world reliability rather than chasing flashy but niche features. Draw and the PDF workflow also benefit from this release, especially in annotation performance and object manipulation responsiveness, which makes editing diagrams or marking up documents feel snappier. And for many users who rely on LibreOffice as a lightweight PDF editing tool, these incremental gains add up to a smoother daily experience, reinforcing the suite's role as an all-in-one productivity environment rather than just a document editor. Beyond individual apps, one of the most important themes in version 26.2 is interoperability, because the developers have continued refining import and export filters, particularly for modern Office formats, and while perfect compatibility across complex documents remains a moving target, the number of edge cases where formatting breaks has been reduced, and this is crucial for adoption in mixed environments where LibreOffice users collaborate with colleagues using proprietary tools. Another notable change is in startup behavior and background processes, where the suite now handles resource initialization more efficiently, meaning systems with limited memory experience fewer slowdowns when switching between modules. And this is especially relevant for users running LibreOffice on older hardware, a segment that has always been important for the project's global reach. Security and stability also play a major role in this release, with numerous bug fixes and internal cleanups that might not be visible but significantly reduce crash scenarios. And while these improvements rarely make headlines, they're the foundation of trust for any productivity software because reliability ultimately matters more than any single feature. One of the broader implications of version 26.2 is how it positions LibreOffice in the current software landscape, where subscription fatigue and privacy concerns are pushing more users to reconsider open-source alternatives, and by focusing on performance, compatibility, and polish rather than radical redesigns, this release strengthens the argument that you can adopt LibreOffice not as a compromise but as a fully capable daily driver. For Linux users, the update integrates seamlessly with modern desktop environments, benefiting from better theming consistency and smoother file picker interactions. But even on Windows and macOS, the improvements are noticeable, reinforcing the suite's cross-platform identity, which remains one of its greatest strengths, allowing users to maintain the same workflow regardless of operating system. What makes version 26.2 particularly interesting is that many of its changes are cumulative, meaning the suite doesn't suddenly feel different in one specific way, but instead feels refined across dozens of small interactions. And that's often the hallmark of mature software evolution, where progress comes not from dramatic reinvention, but from relentless iteration. The community aspect also deserves attention, because LibreOffice's development model means that feedback loops between users, contributors, and maintainers directly influence priorities, and releases like 26.2 showcase how incremental contributions from across the ecosystem can converge into a noticeably improved user experience. Another dimension worth considering is long-term document sustainability, since LibreOffice continues to champion open standards. And with each release, the suite reinforces its role as a tool for creating files that remain accessible years into the future without vendor lock-in, which is an increasingly important consideration for institutions, educators, and individuals who want control over their data. Performance testing across various workflows reveals that the improvements are not limited to synthetic benchmarks, but show up in practical scenarios, whether that's opening multi-hundred-page documents, recalculating large financial sheets, or exporting presentation decks. And this consistency across tasks is what gives the update its changes everything feel, because the suite simply feels more responsive across the board. For new users considering LibreOffice for the first time, version 26.2 lowers the barrier to entry by smoothing rough edges that previously required minor workarounds, making the onboarding experience more intuitive, while long-time users benefit from a faster, more reliable environment without needing to relearn anything, which is a delicate balance that the release manages well. In the broader context of open-source productivity software, this update reinforces the idea that sustained, community-driven development can compete with commercial offerings not by copying them feature for feature, but by focusing on stability, transparency, and user freedom, and that philosophy is embedded throughout the release. Ultimately, what makes LibreOffice 26.2 stand out isn't a single headline feature, but the cumulative effect of performance gains, interface polish, compatibility improvements, and reliability enhancements. all of which combine to create a suite that feels more mature, more cohesive, and more ready than ever for everyday professional use. And if you've been waiting for a version that simply makes everything smoother without disrupting your workflow, this might be the release that convinces you to upgrade or even make the switch for the first time. Because sometimes the most impactful changes are the ones that quietly remove friction from every interaction. And that's exactly what LibreOffice 26.2 delivers. And when you step back and look at the trajectory of the project, it becomes clear that releases like this are less about dramatic reinvention and more about steady evolution, the kind that gradually transforms perception over time. And if the momentum continues in this direction, the line between open source and proprietary Office experiences will keep narrowing, not through hype but through consistent, tangible improvements that users feel every single day they open the suite and start working.